Congrats to Harry's for 1 month of not smoking a cigarette.
No way.
Yeah, that's big. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Next time I see him, I'm give him a hug and congratulate him.
Don't tell him why. Just
Congratulations.
because next time you're gonna see him, the podcast is gonna be like 2 weeks out, and he's gonna be like, that's why Lake just hugged me randomly.
That's why Lake hugged me.
Enough of those.
This is the Mochi Podcast. Kick us off, Hayden.
We doing that? Oh, all right, cool. The Coolest Cat just got a good podcast with your hosts, Hayden, Zach, Tim, and our, he's back with us again, Lake.
Lake back again. Wow! That was good.
Just now seeing our new light change up, and you said you like it?
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We decided to change it up after it being inspired, and glad we did. Like I said, I prefer this lighting.
I'm glad we
sure.
pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah. For all y'all listening to audio podcasts, lights are green,
this is
purple, and blue.
This is podcast 3008. So,
yeah.
We're from the future.
Podcast number 69.
Nice. We're getting more mature as the podcast comes.
I don't know what that number means, but I know it's a good one.
I actually sold a customer a full podcast setup this week.
Oh.
He had a podcast. He didn't give me a name because he just started, obviously.
Right.
But he literally was doing memos on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
Which, too bad we're not doing the sponsor of the podcast yet. But he was doing just memos into his phone, and his friend was like, man, those are really good. You need to do a podcast. And he's like, okay. So he came up to Best Buy. And then I showed him our podcast, and he's like, man, that sounds really good. What do you do? And I was like, well, we have a mixer, but if you're want to just really budget, you can just buy a USB Yeti mic and pretty much, do it to anything, and that would be good enough.
Right.
And then I showed him Anchor.
Right.
And then from there, he's all he talks about is fishing. But I tell him at the same time, I'm like, well, fishing is can be, that's not what everyone's doing.
Right.
But there's enough of an audience.
There's a niche market there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People that want to hear about you catching fish and, 20-minute episodes. I was like, awesome.
What makes me think of that is not only a big part of fishing is going out with your friends and kind of relaxing, and you fish, but you're also hanging out. That's a big part of it. So you can always just talk about, man, remember that one time we was fishing on the lake and blah, blah, blah. We was talking about this and that. So it's kind of also recycling stories you had from when you went fishing with friends and stuff like that. I can understand how that would be interesting
it's
for some
so
people.
true. Like when Mitchell and Caleb got into fishing so much.
God.
I never truly got it until this last Thanksgiving trip. We took about a bunch of rod and reels to the beach with us and did some saltwater fishing. Dude, sitting out on the end of the dock on the ocean, just casting. Dude, it's so nice. I could see myself put some rod and reels on the van.
He's already planning his retirement.
Out fishing, boy. Yeah, dude. But no, speaking of podcasts, we were talking about cool ways to kind of help promote our podcast. Being that you guys just went to Kamicon this weekend, Hayden was telling me about a lot of people hand out cards and stickers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool to jump on maybe Alibaba or something and get some kind of what Dustin was talking about, make some Mochi slaps.
So weird that I sent someone that this morning.
And then it would be a sticker promoting us, but then on the back it'd have all our social networks and stuff. So before you peel it off and stick it.
I talked to Dustin about that this morning. That's really
Dustin?
weird.
Really?
Yeah, before you brought it up, it's so
what
weird.
what kind of sparked the idea? I thought about this beforehand, and I was I wasn't sure if it handing out cards at the con was a freebie you could do, but anybody could do it because are you okay,
dude? Those are a week old.
What, in your pocket or what?
No, just
why are you putting it on the table for me to eat?
For all the audio listeners, Tim's chewing on a week-old gummy bear. Fresh out of Lake's pocket.
Yeah, so they were sitting in the Best Buy's cabinet for a good couple days.
Why'd you bring them?
Is that why you offered them to us?
I was eating them too.
Typically, Lake brings snacks and stuff, but then he'll eat them. But he didn't even open the back. He let us open the back. He's like, here you go, have those. Is that why? Because you knew they were a week old? Are they tainted?
He's trying to sabotage us. But yeah,
get married.
That was my initial when I bit into him when he gave them to us earlier. I was like, these are not fresh, but I will not deny them. anyways, about the about the cards, I just saw Lake's face and he was like, I think I just killed Tim.
What so like what kind of are you saying? Make them on Alibaba with the cards or like little like stickers?
It'd be like a sticker, and the sticker would have like say our logo or the cat. It'd have Mochi on it, and then underneath it it'd say like Mochi Mochi, something that would be appealing for someone to look at who, even if they didn't know what the podcast was or didn't listen to us anyway, could look at the sticker and be like, man, that's a cool sticker. But on the back, when you peel off the part and then like when you peel the back off to actually stick the sticker, the back would have like the website and
so
our
it doubles
ad.
as an ad too.
Right. So
just
instead of
make it, you
just
have all
a
the money.
business card, it would be.
But like what I was saying, like people at the con were handing me cards for like all kinds of stuff, and I was like, I can understand if vendors have the cards because like, oh, you bought something from us, here's our card, check us out on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But 2 girls noticed I had tattoos, and this girl was a tattoo apprentice. She specialized in like nerd tattoos and anime tattoos, whatever. So she walked up to me, handed me her card, and not only that, like I got like a few other cards from people just kind of promoting like their own stuff, whatever, and they weren't even selling anything. So I was like, I hopefully I feel like handing out cards and like kind of like self advertisement at these cons, whatever, is just totally free. Like there's not a big problem with it. Don't know how they could like regulate that.
I'm sure it would be free. It's just like people at the mall
so
handing out
like,
their mixtape.
Yeah, why not? We could just do that too.
It is smart too because it's to a like-minded crowd. It's people who are interested in the same thing that you are because they all bought tickets to go to this convention. So I remember when we went and watched Laser Team, there was a group there. They made YouTube videos, and they're like, "Hey, you like Rooster Teeth?"
They did a cooking show. That's what they did.
But they had same thing. They had business cards. Like, "Hey, you like Rooster Teeth? We're Rooster Teeth community. You might like our YouTube channel." So yeah, networking, marketing, whatever.
I'm down to do that, especially.
Worth a
I mean,
shot.
because we know how much it's going to cost. I mean, it's not like a big hit.
And also, I mentioned this is about Zach. It's like, how many people at these cons do you just bump in and make small talk with? Like, everybody you bump into at these cons, you'll make small talk with. You get a picture with somebody, you talk to somebody at a booth about something. And it's like, why not be like, hey, well, why not check out such and such while you're talking to him as well? And it's just like it's super easy.
It's smart. Yeah.
You might hand out like 100 cards, but like I was saying, it maybe only like 5 people check it out. But that's 5 people to check us out, which is cool.
If you can, try to get that done before MomoCon because that's the next big convention we're doing.
You said it's in like May or something.
No, that's in July.
I mean, I can check. Last year was in May, it was the end of May, but I can check real quick.
Yeah, because we're not going to AWA till November 1st.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of small talk, some cool stuff happened while I was at Kamicon. So me and Hayden, we got separated a lot while we were browsing the vendor hall.
Okay.
Well, one time I was talking to him, and then he just like disappeared from out behind me.
So it's in May.
And this dude that was right behind me picked up the conversation. So I was like continuing talking, and I looked back and he was like, "What?" And Hayden, I'm like, "Oh, okay. What's up?" So I just followed this guy around, talked to him a little bit, and then finally found Hayden again. I'm like, "Oh yeah." So as I was talking about, and then restarted that conversation that we left off on.
Wow.
I don't think you told me about that. That's funny though.
Yeah, we were talking about something like Evangelion, like the old posters that I got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was weird. He looked like he talked like you. I thought it was you.
Get that
and I turned around, it wasn't you.
I get that, dude. The amount of times I've gotten where people say I look and act and are like familiar to somebody they know. Like Morgan texted me this weekend saying, "I'll work with a guy who acts and talks just like you, but he's not you," and it throws me off really hard. And I'm like, how many doppelgangers out there I gotta whoop, bro? Like,
freaking.
do I look like a band instructor?
There can be only
What?
one, man.
Do I look like a band instructor?
No.
Marching band instructor?
No.
There was a guy that came
What?
up to me and he's like, "Dude, you look like my marching band instructor. Can I get a picture?" I'm like, "Sure." So we like buddied up, took a selfie.
He's gonna roast you online, bro. Look at this dude.
Look at
Look at this dude.
No, he's gonna
this dude right here.
All right.
he's gonna catfish with your picture.
Speaking of
The
Kamicon,
gingers of cons.com. What?
speaking of Kamicon, the boys, the 3 boys around this table, excluding me because I'm a man. The boys went to Kamicon this year. How was it? How was it this year?
It was pretty good. It was better than being in your van, for sure.
My van was pretty cool.
Yeah, fixing the leak or something.
Yeah, but does your van have skin tight
Does it have
cosplay?
anime?
Okay, so I would like to hear Kamicon this year, just as a whole. Just as a whole, would you say it was good, awkward, or bad?
Oh, it was really good.
Okay, Hayden.
In between, not on any of those three. I'd say it was good. I wouldn't say it was really good. I think last year was better, but the panels last year were better. The vendors hall this year was set up better. It was more organized.
Yeah, I agree
and there
with
was
that.
better. They had actual good food this year. Better, not good, but better food for people at the convention this year.
That wasn't like $12 for a basket of 2 pieces of chicken. No. The panels, I didn't enjoy some of the panels I went to.
Yeah, some of
but
the
there
panels
wasn't a good variety.
Were especially we checked out the panels that were going on Sunday. Of course, Sunday is the last day of the con, so it's gonna be the weakest day. It's only half a day, and nothing good going on. So we went to the dealer's hall for most of it. Saturday had like some okay panels, and then like so as far as like the panels this year it was and that's part of like half the reason for going for me.
So walk me through. It was a 3-day con. Walk me through. You guys went Friday. What happened Friday? Did y'all just go through the dealer's hall, stuff like that?
I mean, Friday was really getting there. Last year we went there just to get our badges and kind of went around the same route of that last year. Went there, get our badges. He already had had already pre-ordered his, so went to go pick ours up, and then we kind of just explored every floor of the con, see what was going on. Just kind of see people, then check the dealer's hall. Not all the vendors that got to the dealer's hall by the first day, since Saturday is the big day. And then kind of just hung out. We saw a couple of our friends. So I didn't do too much Friday. Didn't go too crazy because since Saturday is the big day.
So then come Saturday, Tim actually shows up. You were there Saturday.
Yes.
What'd you guys do Saturday? I guess this is like the panels day. Tim gets to see the dealer's hall.
It's like do everything day as much as you can, really. It's
so we did something. We did something a little different this year. I got Lenny to come with us.
Yeah, because it was her first con.
It was our first con, which is very surprising,
really?
right? Yeah, because we all know how big of a fan Lenny is.
Oh yeah, of course.
So it was really cool to have her hang out, and she actually dressed just like normal. Like she didn't dress for the occasion, wear an anime shirt or anything.
I was gonna say you make it sound like she just dresses in medieval attire.
No, she
showed up in chainmail.
It was different because I've never seen her dressed like that other than her.
You see her in Best Buy uniform all the time, right?
Yes, but outside of Best Buy, she wears different stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna play more for the part.
Yeah.
But
so her first con. Would you say Kamicon's a good first con?
Yeah, it's a very good beginner.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like what we started out. We started out with just the Mac Daddy.
Well, RTX was my first con, and that's
that's a Mac Daddy.
Yeah, it's like going to Kamicon and just wait in line.
And you did that by yourself too.
Yeah.
So
but she had fun.
But yeah, Lenny had a really good time. So pretty much,
which is good.
She did what most people do on their first con. You stick together with some person that knows how to kind of maneuver and try to hit all the corners.
Gotta get the feel.
So she did pretty much what me and Hayden did our first con. Is we hung out with each other the whole time and didn't really separate because we didn't know the proper way for us both to really fully enjoy a con. Mm-hmm. So when we went to MomoCon, we were just super
all over
prepared.
the place. Yeah,
right.
So I we walk in the door, we get done signing, we get in the dealer's hall. None of us talk to each other again.
Hayden takes a left, you take a right. You're like, deuces.
Yeah, I literally just went through. I went through every single vendor before I bought something too.
Mm-hmm. Smart.
Yeah, and just to make sure something wasn't cheaper, more expensive.
Yeah.
So, which I know Lake got screwed on one.
One so there was one figure, it was a Oscar Langley figure. It was $35 almost everywhere. No, it was $45 almost everywhere. I found one for $38.99. But then I was like, as soon as I got it, I went to another one and it was for $31. I was like, man, missed out on a couple dollars.
Yeah, hey, a couple dollars though.
That couple dollars could have been for another keychain.
That could have bought 2 chicken and a biscuit and some fries.
Yeah, I'll give you half a chicken.
God, dude, that can. I have a story about the confession. The confession stand.
The confession stand. People stand in line to give their confessions.
My waifu doesn't like me.
So you show up. This is so I guess Lenny kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, so she sticks with me, which is awesome for her because
awesome for her.
It's awesome.
Yeah. You're welcome.
It's awesome for her because she had no clue where to go, or do anything.
Right.
And I've never been to Kamicon too, but I understand how
conventions
the general
work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so So like she wasn't just like wandering because you probably honestly
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's
really,
very overwhelming. Which yeah, it's good to have kind of a chaperone first time you kind of go there to one of those.
It was funny because she started following me the first time, like when me and Hayden split up. So it was just me and her walking around. But it was like super awkward because I was like, this is also just my second one. Or no, the third one that I've been to. So I'm not a pro at it.
And you don't
so
talk to Lenny a lot either.
Yeah. And I was like,
You
so there's like some plushies over there. We can go take a look at them. You know, this dude sells like hentai, you know. And then this dude sells body
Lenny
pillows.
to go look at hentai.
So I was like, I didn't know how Charlotte ripped and everything like that. So.
But yeah, so finally she meets up. We go, we buy our things, take it to the car, then come back, buy more things. It's just how it works.
Well, that's the awesome thing about Kamicon too. It's just right downtown.
So I went to one panel. Okay.
Oof.
I went to a Doki Doki Literature Club panel.
You went to that one?
It was absolutely garbage, and you're about to hear why.
No, I mean,
because I heard you talking about that.
I almost went to the panel. But then, like, I was like, oh, man, I play that game. I love that game. One of my favorite games ever, actually. And I was like, I want to go to this because they might actually talk about it. But in my head, I realized I was like, I think I know what it's going to be. And I'm just going to skip out on it.
Was it a fan panel?
And, oh, yeah, they're all fan panels.
Yes.
But I want Tim to go on and tell me and talk about it. I want to see if I was right. And I avoided like the damage.
So you're 100% right.
But okay, so explain the difference between just a normal panel and like a fan panel.
So I'm gonna go to a fan panel from MomoCon that was one of me and Hayden's favorites. So there's a guy who did a panel about Cowboy Bebop at MomoCon.
Right.
He knew everything about the show. He knew everything about the characters. He knew how to develop from the beginning. He knew how to drive a crowd. He knew how to talk and organize,
and not only that,
and be funny.
He was all over the place, and he was like so eccentric and like still trying to play the part and have fun with it. But he knew what he was talking about the entire time, so he was getting the point across about the Cowboy Bebop, whatever. But still having fun with it. So he wasn't just like, and Cowboy Bebop is cool, and I like it for this reason. But he was you could tell he was passionate about it.
But he's just a fan. He's not affiliated with the show.
Yeah.
No, he's just...
Yeah,
okay.
But it's like you could tell he was passionate about it, and that's kind of, why it was
not
so good.
Not that with Doki Doki. Okay. So, first of all, so for the audio listeners, just kind of like try to listen really close, because I want to mimic what the main girl does in this podcast.
Monica?
I mean, for this podcast. So, yes. No, not Monica, actually. It's one of the other ones. I forgot her name.
What color is her hair?
Pink.
Was it
not Nazi?
Nazis?
Not Nazi.
Natsuki.
Anyway.
Nazis.
Nazi. She was like the main girl that was like talking to the crowd. These people that are on this table are not public speakers. They're not people that do this on a regular basis.
Right.
Because they don't know how to do anything. So there's 5 of them. One of them is named MC, which is the main character, who has no name. So to begin the panel, they ask, hey, what should we name him for this entire panel? What?
Okay.
So first of all, they name him Waluigi. And I know, right? And this is people.
It's like Jay's playing the game,
like bloody screaming too, like Waluigi.
Yeah,
man, it's bad. So but the thing is, for her to announce that. So to begin this panel, we're going to like show. We're gonna try to pick a main character, and that main character has to be Waluigi.
So it's their first time using a mic ever.
Right.
Yeah, dude, she's just like swinging it back and forth, like you can't hear it. It's a room.
Right.
Like, you have to be able to do that. Okay. Second of all,
PA systems also weren't that great at Kamicon.
Yeah. Second of all, Lenny doesn't know anything about the game. Doki Doki. I'm explaining to her, I'm like, it's an awesome game. It's down your alley for sure.
Oh, yeah. I think Lenny would love Doki. And it's free on Steam. I would recommend the game to anybody.
Tim's sweating.
Lenny would love the game.
Yes, it's an incredible game. So the next part is, after they pick Waluigi, they explain the rules of the panel. Okay?
Okay.
The rules are, our characters can answer questions, but we have to answer as if we're the characters. So it's not a panel about Doki Doki Literature Club. It's a panel of them playing as the characters, answering questions as the characters from Doki Doki. Like, why?
Yeah,
Talk
what?
about, people want you to hear about Doki Doki Literature
Right.
Club.
And it
They want to know
wasn't-
why you love it, why it's a great game.
It should have been. It should have been like advertised. It should have been advertised as a Doki Doki Literature Club role play panel, as opposed to, because they were cosplaying, of course, and that makes sense. But it should have been what it should have been for a good panel, if it was Doki Doki Literature Club, whatever, like panel about the game, talking about why the person liked the game, people interacting about why they also liked the game, their favorite characters, what made the game so special in the first place, and like kind of also like its impact on video games and pop culture and the anime community as well. That'd be interesting.
That's what a good panel would be.
Yeah.
That's how a panel should be, but they can't. I've been to like cosplay roleplay panels before, and they are cringe.
So it's like, what are the rules? How do you, like, could the Mochi podcast put on a panel
Yes.
about
Yeah.
anything?
anything.
Who would come to that?
The best
We clickbait them like the Doki Doki Club.
One of the best parts of the Mochi, the Doki Doki Literature Club is what was happening before
I know
it.
how we would do it. We got to put hentai in the title.
Yeah.
So go.
We'll draw a
Anyways, go.
crowd.
I'm sorry.
Mochi hentai. Anyway, dude, if we could actually get a thing in there, that'd be great. We'll just do a live podcast.
it
like
would
Game
just be a
Grumps.
podcast. Yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We can talk about everything. Like, we would hit almost everyone in that room with something for sure.
But we got to clickbait them in like they did you, thinking you were getting a Doki Doki panel. But
And the
instead
thing
you
is,
got-
we have to ignore the crowd like they're not there and just talk like we are.
I wonder
now.
how you
and just
get
have
it.
like a bunch of people.
No, I want to
behind us.
banter with some people who don't know what they're talking about. Tell them they're wrong about their favorite anime.
That's true. How could we do? Not that we're big enough to
cold.
do one, but how could we do?
Their favorite
It'd be
anime
awesome to
is-
do a live podcast.
I'll ask when we go to MomoCon. I'll ask the people at Kamicon, because they'll have a booth again. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's and I'll ask them, hey, how are you able to get like a panel?
I bet you could do it on the website, like
Yeah,
through like
there's
the
a
vendor
sign-up.
settings or something.
There's a sign up thing.
Email. You got to email.
Look
them.
for the Mochi podcast next year at Kamicon, Birmingham, Alabama.
Dude, I'll be totally down to do
That'd be
that.
dope.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. Just to go in there and be like, hey, we're from here. We're a local podcast.
So Doki Doki was trash. Did you stay the whole time? Did y'all leave
No,
It wasn't trash.
We were there for
I wouldn't say it's trash.
the Doki Doki panel?
Oh, I thought you said Kamicon was trash.
no.
Doki Doki.
No, after we left after like 5 minutes, I said, hey, Lenny, when you're ready to leave, we can go. She goes, yeah, we can go.
Now.
I mean, like, when panels are bad, they can be bad. But when panels are good, it's like when it really appeals to you, you're like, that made it really worth part of the con.
Because that's what got me into Evangelion. Was there was a dude we went to go see, and he talks about like the entire Evangelion thing.
There was a guy who, I think he's from Birmingham, actually. He has
it was like 20, 25, or 24 years.
It was 20 years of Evangelion.
20
He also
years.
did a panel the day before of early 2000s anime, as well as stuff about Toonami. And he also did a whole panel just about the 90s in general.
Yeah.
But his stuff was like super well like organized, and like he knew what he was talking about, and he knew how to make it interesting, and like why it was. When he talked about stuff, he talked about why it was important, not why I liked it because I thought it was cool.
Right.
And it
Like,
also helps that he's been doing podcasts for a while, too.
Yeah, so
just
he knows what he was talking
public
about.
speaking.
Right.
Like, you don't understand how much public speaking can just go so much into that. If you have no public speaking skills, do not
Do a panel.
do a panel.
Right.
These were just, I mean, I understand where they're coming from. These were like girls who were cosplaying who probably thought like they all love the game, and I'm sure they were like they would love to do a panel. But I mean, it's like it's easy for those things to go south. We've seen it.
Yeah, when I went to AWA and they did the Venture Time panel, I just rolled my damn eyes. Just because they're like, hey, we're dressed up as characters.
If Steven doesn't
Right.
stop
And-
sending cringe TikTok videos, I'm gonna scream.
So,
You hear
so
that,
speaking
Steven?
of, I didn't go to Comic-Con this year, but you guys were kind of conversating through the group chat. So I was able to see play-by-play of all Saturday what was going on. What happened with the Pro ZD panel? Because that
I
was
didn't
like,
go.
So I went with Steven, and some of Steven's coworkers were there with us too, actually. So shout out Steven and those guys; those were cool. Speaking of which, before I get into the panel, did you see where Steven bought the Zoids Liger?
you sent me a picture. I didn't know he bought it.
Yeah, he
though.
bought it. Yeah.
It was like $45.
Mech things to build are expensive. Did I send you the picture? Also, like, I'll put the picture in the video as well. There was a guy he probably spent
in the hallway,
and who built it in the hallway. Yeah, that's probably close to like $1,000 in because some of those depending on the grade of the Gundam like model kits, whatever, some of those can get as expensive as like $200 each. And he was just sitting there just building all of them, and I was like, you could tell this dude's been doing this for years because he was working on his 8th, and he had 2 more on the side. So he was really just sitting in there. I mean, that just shows you how like dedicated Gundam fans are. Yeah. But
so Steven bought the
he bought the little Zoids Liger. Nice. He also bought another big Gundam to build because like fans of Gundam just love that kind of stuff. Anyways, the ProZD panel. If people who follow ProZD on YouTube specifically, he did one of his like big shticks about he would get people on Twitter to be like, hey, send me your favorite anime characters and I will rate them. And that's what this panel was. And I think that's kind of he does like Q&A panels, I believe, but he also did this specific panel to have people would walk up and be like, hey, this is my favorite anime character, rate them 1 out of 5, and he'll give his reasons for it. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Oh, he's shaking his bottle.
So it doesn't hit the mic.
Inconspicuously under the table, but it looks very shady. It looks just like it looks like a shake weight. Stop! Don't make eye contact when you do it.
What? It's just our fans.
Oh God. So
yeah, that's like he has like 5 different videos about this, and like so I was like, man, I had 2 characters in mind that like I really both from Hunter x Hunter, and if people sit in the panel and you can get in line, you go to the mic and you tell him the character whatever, and he'll kind of give you his thoughts on him if he likes him or not. And he's like in the community and like on YouTube and Twitter whatever, he's kind of famous. You know, like he was famous on Vine too. Yeah. Vine is really what projected him into the spotlight. And so like it really pissed me off because it people would get up there and they would say their character, but then they would shoot the shit with them the entire time, and I'm like, mine was quick. I had 2 characters from the same series, from the same particular arc, and I was like, boom this character, boom that character, both solid. I wanted to hear what he had to say about him because it was from Hunter x Hunter series that both of me and him like. I just want to know what he had to say about these characters.
Say what you got to say, then go have a seat and let him answer it. And on to the next one.
People were all like, I'm stupid, and here's my character.
My favorite video that you did was this video, and I've been watching you for this long, and which I understand. I mean, if you look up to someone, I ran into that a lot at RTX, is because people like myself has been watching Rooster Teeth content for so long, and then you're in front of a mic and you get to talk to these people, but it's like they would clearly say, save your, oh my God, we're not taking pictures while we're up here. We're not accepting gifts while we're up here. We appreciate that you appreciate our content, but there's like 50 people behind you that all have questions.
The icing on the cake that really pissed me off on this one is that I didn't get that close to the front because people took so damn long. And at some point, like I want to say it was 10 minutes before the panel closed, and I was like, all right, cool, they're going to rush through everybody real quick, whatever. Didn't do that. They said, all right, everybody's in line, just go ahead and sit down, and we'll just everybody raise your hand, we'll just pick up people we want and answer theirs. And I was like, why didn't you fucking do that from the beginning?
Yeah.
You could have just done that and then like done that for half the panel and got to apply a lot more.
Most panels do that anyway. They'll vent the questions before they send you to the mic. It's like, what are you going to ask? Okay. What are you going to... Yeah.
ProZD, he has a lot of videos like that on his YouTube, so I'd recommend going and checking those out. They're pretty fun. I mean, he talks about like anime characters, video game characters, just characters in general. Mm-hmm.
They're short. He does little like 30-second to a minute-long videos too.
Yeah, and that's just like, but that just kind of ticked me off that people just took their sweet time up there, and I was standing in line. I stood in line for 45 minutes, and I was still 20 people away.
Yeah, dang.
And I was just like...
That does suck, because it takes away from the experience of just being able to sit there and enjoy what he has to say.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
But it's whatever. I mean, overall, a lot of that particular panel... I mean, I did watch the panel, of course. That was a good panel. Mm-hmm. Another panel we also saw was a Japanese travel panel, which was good. But
and there's a but.
There's a big one.
It was this girl from I can't remember her name, but she traveled to Japan a handful of times, and I want to say she also studied abroad in Japan as well. So she had like a lot of information about like if you plan on traveling to Japan, this is kind of preparing you for that. Things you might need to know in case you go to ever decide to.
Yeah, and the good places to go to.
Yeah, the good places to hit up. So we're in this panel, right? And so we're probably like the 4th or 5th row, and like the row on the other side of us, whatever, a guy on the very, very other side. After about every few things this lady was telling us about this, how to plan maybe a trip for Japan, without even raising his hand, he would just kind of blurt out his own little 2 cents every single like 5 or 10 minutes. And it was fine the first 2 or 3 times that he would just want to add his own thing, because apparently he was just a complete expert about Japan, that she wasn't talking about things he wanted to talk about. And I was sitting next to Lake and Jay, and I don't know if they could tell I was getting really annoyed with him. I think everybody was. And at some point, every time he would say something, I'd look over at Jay and I'd be like, is that so? Is that so? And at some point towards the end of the panel, I go, why don't you get your own panel? And Jay about cried, dying out of his seat.
Tell him to like shut up. Like,
she wasn't really bothered by it. A lot of people in the audience were bothered by it. Well, she may have been bothered by it, but she was keeping her composure really, really well.
Yeah. She did really well to like usher
the Mochi
to the next topic.
Yeah, and she...
Hey! Hey, why don't you shut your mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, get your own podcast.
It wasn't like he was like...
Throw him out.
I have a question, but he was just like, and did you know that I know this about the subject already, but you can... I'm an idiot. And everybody was like...
I can't wait to put that in the Instagram story right there. Oh, man. That's going to be a good one. I feel you, man.
Every time I make a silly noise, Zach's like, that's the one.
Because you're the only one who makes like obscure
I exaggerate explanations sometimes.
I make sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to do it for Mom.
So that was
wait 1 second.
Shout out to Linda. I don't know what sound I should make, but
she just likes when you do the trumpet noise.
Oh, I was doing
Oh, you want a trumpet, Linda? Oh shit. Oh, I've been drinking, sorry. Oh shit, I ain't got that shit.
You gotta change the reed.
I can't. Damn.
Ghostbusters?
I can't do it. No. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Adult virgin.
I was about to spit that shit out.
So that was Saturday. So after you guys left Doki Doku, we kind of strayed off from that.
So while they're at Pros ED, I didn't go. So me and Lenny, because there was just nothing to do. We already went to dealers hall. I actually forgot there was a gaming hall. I didn't know it was down the hall, so I didn't I didn't show Lenny any of the gaming systems. I feel so bad.
Tons and tons of awesome.
No, we
games.
did. We did go there.
Dude, you and Lenny did?
No, not me and Lenny. I don't remember.
Lenny?
I know. As a group, we did go there because she looked at some of like. It was the cube game where you like tap the cubes when it pops
she
up.
She did go?
Jewel Cube?
She did see something like that.
No, it's called Jubeat.
Yeah, that. She saw that.
But anyway, so this is leading up. This is just my experience because we're completely different, which is good. This is perfect. So we don't all have the same story.
Right.
So me and Lenny went and got food. After we came back from the car, we went and got food right there, and we just sat down and eat. And after that, we went down, and then there's the crane games. Now, crane games, these are all Japanese crane games, where they put a figure on 2 bars, and so it's completely square, and the crane goes down to pick it up.
Right.
And if it falls down, you get the figure.
Okay. But if it falls like kilted,
then you as many tries.
And also, don't you have to pay for tokens to use it?
Yes. So, okay, look, if you're a merchant and you go to these panels or go to these events and you are selling figures and clothes and your artwork, you're in the wrong. You need to have a crane machine. God dang.
So the Mochi podcast panel /
crane
booth
game
that we have, we're gonna have a crane game.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
win a lake.
We're gonna go on. We're gonna have Amazon.
A big crane.
We're gonna have Amazon. We're gonna find this really cheap figures. I'm just gonna give $300 to Hayden.
Yeah, stuff that he already wants to sell. We'll put it in the crate. Dude, that's great. That's so great.
He makes so much money. So
You'll
first of all,
pry it from my cold dead hands.
here.
Yeah.
Shout out to that guy.
And so we're sitting there, and I watch him. So me and Lenny are like people watchers. We like to watch. So we're sitting there, we're watching these people just lose their mind. So much that I wanted to try.
Oh, God.
And she tried too. So we put $10.
Oh, my God.
Get you 6 coins.
Oh, my God.
No,
Six tries?
It gives you 6 tries, 5 coins. But the 5 coins, you put all 5 of them, and it gives you 6 tries.
Okay, so hold on.
Think about that.
Let me backpedal though. What if we don't do a crane game? What if we just sell tokens?
We sell
about that?
Mochi tokens.
That don't work anywhere. Anyway, sorry.
God. But anyway, so
It's our cryptocurrency. Get it now.
It'd be so expensive to stamp Mochi coins though.
Wait, actually,
Mochi currency, it's the heaviest out there.
I still have a token.
You still have one? Whoa.
Yeah.
I want to see.
It
It's so
says
shiny.
Otaka Oasis.
Otaku Oasis?
Oh, Tokyo Attack. Yeah. Anyway, so you tried. You step up to the plate, boys.
Okay, so this is
Otaku Oasis.
This is why.
You want to reset cameras real quick?
No, they're good. They're
Okay.
like 10 minutes in.
Like 20 minutes in.
15. So this is why this was my favorite part of the con, for sure, is the crane part. Me and Lenny are dying laughing at these people because they sit there and one guy spent $40 and didn't win one thing. Because like you pick it up and then it falls sideways,
Right.
and then he slowly tries to pick it up and kind of scoot it down, and he loses. He loses all his thing. He goes, 10 more dollars, gets 6 more coins, put them all in. But the thing is, no, he doesn't put them all in. He puts only 1 in because he thinks he only needs 1 more try, which takes away 1 play because putting 5 gives you 6.
Oh, yeah.
So just think about that. Like, he's losing all these turns. Does it, loses again. He gets like so close. Does it again, loses. Does it again, loses. Girl walks up because he's tired of it. Second try, wins it.
Oh my gosh.
And he's sitting there just like,
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
oh man, she wins it, and then she has 3 more tries. Does it, loses. Another guy gets up there, he does it, and so I'm just watching there for this next guy. He gets it to like where it's like turn, and he's like, he does it 6 times, and he does it. And he's like, man, I don't know if I want to spend another $10. Like, I'm so close. And he's like, you know what? And I was like, you know what? Well, I want to try. So I gave him my $10 to get my coins. I didn't win, but
spoiler. All right, well, end of your story. Next
I didn't
one.
win, but I got like super close, like literally one thing. And then he spent $20 more and got more coins and still didn't win. Another person walks up and wins it immediately. Oh
Wow.
man, it's like the lottery.
Yeah.
It's literally a jackpot.
But how much is the figure versus how much you're putting in to win it?
Thing.
Those figures are not worth it.
Yeah,
Are they not?
They're basically prize figures that you can get off of Amazon for like $12 to $15.
Yeah, it was worth $10. Like if I wanted
one try.
But the box was like
basically.
this big. Their figures are like big.
Yeah,
They're like
yeah.
full size.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the side, after that, on the side was another one. Now this one was different. It had smaller figures with a piece of tape on it with a hole. And so you would
try and grab the
and pull it. There's a guy that hogged it. He bought 50 coins.
Okay.
50 coins. Dead serious. And I was there for like 40 minutes watching this.
Oh my god.
He bought 50 coins, loaded them all in. But he was a pro.
Ooh.
He won 6 figures.
Whoa.
And then he would sell them to people. Whoa. $25, $30, $25.
All
$30
while sitting in front of the machine?
in front of the machine.
Wow.
I mean, if you want them fair and square, they can't really tell them not to do that. I guess.
True. I mean, if you're good at the game, you're good at the game.
Which
I'd be like, bro, win me that shit.
Did he
real
clean
quick.
them out?
Yeah.
no, they had like 3 left.
Yeah.
But like they got to the point where I guess it doesn't matter because these guys on this machine over here are fucking losing everything. But like this guy, he would like edge it to the end, and then he would just drop it on the corner and
knock it
flips
in.
it over.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to try so bad, but he couldn't because he 50 coins.
I mean, yeah.
But anyway, me and Lenny were there just like,
Wow.
holy dude, man, this guy's making bank. You know, he made his money back. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Easy.
Dude figured it out.
yeah, he figured it out. He's like, this is the way I'm going to make money at Kamicon. And, but anyway,
That
was
dude needs a panel.
that.
How to win at the claw machine.
Crane machine.
games.
That
What
guy,
you
needs,
do.
that guy needs a game theory.
It's just him for an hour at a panel just playing the game.
And
everyone's
this is
like,
yeah, dude.
So,
crane strats.
After you guys did the crane, was that when like me and you met back up, and then you guys went downstairs to do the viewing for what was that anime? The Ghost
Stories.
dude.
So
oh,
we went on. I like to go watch animes at
Mhm.
Comic-Con, which is
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, redundant. in
Well,
a
we
way.
did it at MomoCon.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's like where you find some of the best anime.
And it's a great way to kill. It's a great way to
Come on,
kill
my token.
time
Which-
in between other panels as well.
I found a
Stuff
good
that's
anime
going
I want
on.
to start watching too. It really appealed to me. So I'll let you go on with Ghost Stories, but
Before we jump into Ghost Stories, I want to jump into this week's sponsor
Oh,
because we haven't done that yet.
who is it? Is it the beautiful people at
Anchor. Lake, you haven't been here in a couple weeks. Let me tell you about this week's sponsor, Lake.
I am the Dungeon Master.
Yeah, and he lives on Anchor. This episode of the Mochi Podcast is brought to you by Anchor.fm.
FM?
Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing your podcast.
Your podcast. Yeah.
I read it too fast.
I read it super slow.
Best of all, Lake, it is 100% free.
Free.
And ridiculously easy to use. So, Lake, you want to make a podcast about week-old gummy bears? Now you can.
Or a panel.
You don't need a microphone. You don't need a mixer. All you need is a smartphone. You can
Wow.
use microphones like we do. You can use a mixer. You can have a nice studio like we do. But if you don't, no problem. You can record, edit, and distribute your podcast straight from the Anchor app.
It's dope.
Is it really good for people that like to fish?
Even if you fish, yes, you could do it while you're sitting on the dock. Just record on in your. You could record into your memos and then upload that as well. Anchor, best of all, Anchor supplies you with the tools you need, along with the resources to distribute your podcast on all major networks,
It's my favorite anime.
like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, some cool little tidbit of news. Spotify just acquired Anchor, so that's
That's pretty epic.
that is
And
pretty cool.
soon the world.
So if you are, yes, Hayden. So if you are looking to launch a podcast, do it with Anchor. Sign up today at anchor.fm/start.
Sorry.
That is anchor.fm/START. Anchor.fm/start. Thank you, Anchor, for supporting this episode and all of our other episodes of the Mochi Podcast.
Mochi Podcast.
That's just something that Dr. Evil would say. He'd be like, now that we have your anchor, won't be long before we have your world.
Thank you, Anchor.
So I've watched the first episode of Ghost Stories. Now, Hayden knows more actually about like the origin of why Ghost Stories is such an incredible dub.
So it's an anime.
So, yes, an anime. I want Hayden to actually explain it though, because he does it way better than I do.
Well,
As with everything.
I kind of want to look up the year it came out,
I
but
quit.
Ghost Stories, when it aired in Japan, it was supposed to be a, like what the title suggests, is a paranormal show for little kids, really, about ghosts. They go to a high school, there's like paranormal stuff that happens within the school. That's it. Was not popular in Japan at all. Was kind of overshadowed by stuff like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, what have you, stuff that was like, popular at the time.
Hard to compete with, yeah.
Right. So whenever they brought it over to the West to be dubbed, like since nobody cared about it originally from like in Japan, they had the script for it in dub, but they totally scrapped the script like entirely. And to my knowledge, the voice actors, along with the people that like kind of did the whole dubbing thing in general, they made their own script.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's literally
The best.
no, it's not the same series, of
it's
course.
so good.
It's not the same series, of course. It's literally them just saying whatever they want to.
It's like a parody. It's like a YouTube poof.
It's close to, and there's, you know how I watch the G.I. Joe PSAs?
Yeah.
It's close to that almost.
But it's an entire series?
It's like 26 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's so good. Now, there's some things on it that I'm not going to say on the podcast because you got to bleep it. But man, it was like I was watching it with Lenny here in dub, and we were just the whole room was cracking up because it's just so funny. Greg Ayers is in it, by the way.
Okay.
Shout
out Greg Ayers. We're gonna get him on the episode on a episode one day.
I might have to fly Greg. I know you don't listen, but we'll
Skype him in.
We'll get. Greg
oh,
on
dude,
the
that'd be
episode.
sick. I'll DM him tonight and see if he would be okay. We Skype him in for
for sure we'll
on the
Skype him in.
podcast.
That'd be
I
great.
can get a signed picture.
Oh, for sure.
Good old Greg.
I don't want Greg to sign a picture of Calvary for me.
Yeah, that'd be pretty epic.
So he's in Ghost Stories.
So he's in Ghost Stories. So I get home and I rewatch the same episode with Lake, Hayden, and Steven.
Mhm.
And I said, like, guys, you got to watch this episode. It killed me, and it killed all of them too. Like, man, it's just so funny because it's just so bad. So there's a one of my favorite characters is the child of one of the characters. The brother. He's a little brother.
He's like 5 or 6 years old.
And like he doesn't like talk ever, but like they think he's stupid, and so like every time he talks, he goes.
And they're like, there's one point, and they're like, there's a cat on there, and it's a talking cat, of course, whatever. And the talking cat at one point calls him a. And at some point, like the cat is up on a ledge, and the little kid's looking up at him, and he's like. And he goes like, I guess you really are. I'm not gonna say.
So where can our listeners watch this?
VRV.
Is this on Verve?
It's on
We'll put a
Verve.
link.
You can also probably find clips of this on YouTube.
We'll put a link to it on
sure.
the website.
It doesn't
as well.
seem real. Like it doesn't seem like it's but like at the same time, it's one of those dubs where I don't think it's a bad dub. I think like when you watch what they say versus their mouths, it kind of looks like they say it.
It sounds like an Adult Swim type show.
It's 100%.
I mean, Adult Swim showed Pee-wee's Playhouse. They could totally show this,
Right.
and they showed. I mean, it would fit the lineup for sure.
But it is incredible. There was also another anime
It
called.
totally reminds me of Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
It's like Robot Chicken comedy essentially.
Okay.
I'm gonna show
I
you.
can't wait to put that on the Instagram story.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you it after the podcast.
Please do. That would be awesome.
We don't have to watch the whole
one scene.
episode. I just want to show you.
There's one scene where it's like they run up to a police station. Show them that one. That one's the best. It makes no sense. It's so good because they run up and they're like, dude, drop the donuts. We got an emergency. And the woman's like talking really fast. Doesn't even make sense with the lyrics, the script or anything.
What a man.
It's like that.
On the G.I. Joe PSA.
It's just like that.
I just want to ride
My motorcycle.
Hey, sir, you know what happened to the stairs? A person from the school paid us to destroy them. Now I'm about to go to my trailer life with my wife. Aren't you happy to grow up? That's like one of my favorite lines.
Aren't you ready to grow
That
up?
makes no sense at all. It's so good.
Oh
it's
my
just so random. But
So it's called Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories.
Okay.
And if we get Greg on here, I just gotta ask him about that show.
Yeah,
So-
what's it like writing that script?
And he's like, they actually say his name in the script
Oh, okay.
because he plays a character that's like full of himself, and he like wants to be an actor. And what the characters talk behind his back, they like, man, he's so full of himself. He's like, yeah, he's like a blah blah blah, or like Greg Ayers. Like they like
they
name
drop.
him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which
pretty cool.
that was the moment that I was like, oh, this is not the real dub. That was which is
That
bad.
and when they talked about Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they said Tom Cruise in it and stuff like that.
Okay. That's pretty cool, though.
They mentioned like Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
They-
girl's like super Christian. So
Okay.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, it's great. If you're very open minded and you like good funny anime, Ghost Stories dub. It's on Verve VRV. Sponsor us.
MochiPodcast.com.
you could probably find clips of it
there
on
as well.
YouTube as well. It's that type of like internet
Yeah.
comedy for sure.
So you and Lenny, you sit down. You said this is probably your favorite part of the con. This is wrapping up. This still isn't Sunday. This is still Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You watched that. Anything else happen
Pretty
Saturday?
much. I'm texting I'm texting Lake through Lenny because I have no service the whole entire con, and
Saw that in the group chat.
and I said, hey, whenever y'all ready to leave, let me know. And then they're like, yeah, we're pretty much ready to leave. I mean, they pretty much seen everything. No panels is good apparently. So we leave. So yeah, I don't know what they did on Sunday.
Yeah, so come Sunday, Lake got home fairly early. I was surprised that he got home so early. What happened? There was just nothing going on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything was wrapped. Everything was going to be wrapped up around 5. Like the closing ceremonies were at 5, and then I think that the last Q&A for Kamicon was like 6 to 7. So by the time like 5 o'clock rolls around, most everybody's going to be going home.
Yeah.
We showed up around 11. I mean, there was like maybe like a third of the people have already left. Not that many people were left there. So we really just wanted to kind of make our rounds, see. I mean, Jay and Steven and a few of our other friends were still there. We wanted to go hang out with them for a while, and then kind of have the dealers hall to like snag any last minute things. Which I might get into that in a minute about one of the things I grabbed. And then like. And I told Lake, I was like, we could just go there for a little bit. None of these panels look all that interesting, whatever, and then just kind of head out, And so we got there at 11, and we got home around like 2:30. So we weren't there for very long, of course.
Yeah. Because he got back super early.
You should have came to work.
But he did. He had a bag of stuff. So the con's over. Let's recap.
What'd you buy?
Yeah, what'd you buy? That's what I want to know.
I'm not going like too in depth about like every little individual thing we bought. I'll go into like
you bought the coolest thing.
The bigger things that I bought. There was like, I mean, I talked about how like anime merch is just like all over the place. I mean, just like with anything you can imagine. Something that really catered to me. I think it was funny that when I showed Lenny, she just goes, why? Just why? So like there's like plenty of stands have like tons of figures, and not only figures, they have like tons of plushies. This one guy had like an entire rack of just like big plushies, but off to the side he had like boxes of old anime magazines of like New Type and AX and stuff like that, just from like.
Is that what you've got on the table?
Yeah, that's what I've been looking through. And some of these are just like, this really caters to me. It's from like the 80s and like the 90s and the early 2000s. And he was selling them for like $3 a pop. So while he was selling like all these like anime plushies and cute stuff to all like these girls walking up, whatever, every now and again, I literally from as soon as I got in the dealer's hall Saturday morning, I stood at his table looking through all these for an hour, kind of chatting with him back to back about like older anime and stuff like that. And then they were only $3. I bought 9 of them.
Yeah, he had a stack like that big.
Yeah, I bought like 9 of them, and I was like, I mean, they're all pretty big. Handed my book bag to Tim, and I was like,
it's like a college textbooks. Like he literally, like it was
not like you think magazines here. No, this is like.
Yeah, it's not a Reader Digest. This is
a good 100 pages, and it's just like full of. And I showed this to Tim. Most of the art in here is pretty exclusive to these magazines. So
heavy.
It's just it's just kind of something that really appeals to me. Mm-hmm. And then other than that, there was another dealer. He had a lot of older stuff as well. He had a lot of older posters, a lot of older like figures and such, and. Another thing he had was like animation cells from older anime, the way they used to. If you're not familiar with cell animation, I mean, you can find videos of it online of how they used to like animate stuff and whatnot before like everything was digital. Mm-hmm. So you have like animation cells, and it has like the backgrounds, the painted backgrounds, what would be like on the character themselves, and then like a sketch of them for a lot of these. And
there was hand drawn, hand painted.
Yeah, everything's hand drawn, hand painted, how it used to be back in the day. And some of these for the more popular series can go for, I mean, I think the one, I saw a Battle Angel Alita one for $1,200. I saw a Rurouni Kenshin one for $1,500. And these are just pictures. I mean, they're all of them, of course, are one of the kind. It varies between like.
You exploded, Lake?
Lake's you playing with
he's trying to rip a gummy bear.
He's playing with the gummies. Like these gummies are like 4 years old, and he's
are those edibles?
Look at it.
Anyway.
So yeah, some of these stills you showed me, it looks like it's a transparent sheet of paper that somebody has hand painted on, almost like what you put over like an overhead projector in like elementary school.
Yeah.
So on the front, it's all polished and like the final design, but then if you flip it over on the back, you can see the actual like paint strokes and the different color palette that they've used. Mm-hmm. Super interesting. And that's an actual still that they used in the show.
Yeah.
And you now own it.
Yeah, so he has a part of literally anime history.
So how much was it? Was it $1,500?
No. It was not $1,500. I was saying, it kind of depends on the popularity of the show, what character it's of, what series it's of. And the one I bought was $100.
Okay. Well, compared to 1,500,
and it was just like
$100
it's from a series that's something of a series I really love now. It's from one of my favorite characters too, and it's from Hunter x Hunter. Of course, I've talked about that like every podcast by now. But
and the people that probably were doing the sales, like how he probably acquired them, I bet they thought they were worthless. I would feel
there's no way he thought they were worthless.
I mean when they made them. After they made them for the show, they probably just put them in a binder and put them to the side.
Yeah, can you imagine frame?
That's how.
That's
crazy.
That's crazy.
That's how.
That's like if Pixar went through all of their old Toy Story stuff and started selling the individual frames of Toy Story.
Back in the day when studios used to go under to get money to kind of get them back on their feet, whatever, to do other stuff on the side, they would usually sell all those off at auctions a lot of the time, and that's how they would end up going all over the world. So, I mean, I think it was an Evangelion, from the end of Evangelion, a animation sale I saw on eBay for $3,000.
Goodness, but this guy had a lot. This guy had the Hunter.
This guy had at least 30 or 40 books of animation cells and had some on the back wall that you had to ask to see personally that you just couldn't touch because they were
of course,
super expensive.
Yeah.
So easily
like
probably
$1,200.
And what I mentioned, I'm glad I bought it Saturday night because when we came back Sunday, he had all of them put up.
Really?
And and I was like, man, I feel like if I'd asked him to, and the guy was kind of the guy was kind of a dick, but I feel like he was just kind of stressed out because and I could tell some of the vendors at the con looked kind of stressed out because it can be overwhelming, I understand, and especially if you're struggling to make you want to sell some of your products and people are just they want to look at cutesy stuff instead of older stuff that only appeals to less and less people as the years go by, like myself.
Yeah.
Should have bought a crane.
And then the people that do want to look at it only want to look at it. They're not really. They want to look at it till they see a $1,200 price tag. Ugh.
Yeah. Why is that $1,200?
Right.
Who's that?
Because they just don't get it.
And that kind of brings it back to Lenny when she saw me buying these old magazines. She goes, Why? And I was like, if you just don't get it, you just don't get it.
But at the same time, Lenny was like, oh my God, it's a slime with a hat. That's what Lenny wanted to buy was a slime with a hat.
But it's cool that
she ended up buying a lot of keychains though too.
Yeah, she wanted to. I mean, my favorite thing that me and Lake did because we were with each other is when we were walking around. There was a lot of deals where it's like, hey, buy 2 get a third one free, or buy 3 and they get cheaper. So me and Lake would pay the equal amount and then get either something for free.
Yeah,
because we paid $20, 10 each, and then it was 10, and then we've got 4 or 5 pins and stuff like that. So
what'd you get, Tim Bob?
So I bought a couple pins. Don't really care too much about those.
Sure.
I bought another Sonico figure. So I feel like I'm getting to the point where I enjoy having Sonico figures.
You have a lot of figures, bud.
I don't have a lot of figures.
Yeah, you do.
Oh man,
what's all that?
Those
stuff?
ain't figures. Them statues.
They're toys. I got a lot of toys.
Them are my wives.
So you got some figures.
Yeah, I got one figure. I actually decided not to spend a lot of money. I came in with $200. I left with 70 still. So 55 was the ticket.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought one. I bought a 20. Was it $20 for Kana?
Yeah, it was 20.
I spent $20 on a poster of Kana, which I'll be hanging up soon. It's super
so
cute. And I bought after I went through all the vendors, I bought another Sonico figure for $30. I bought a couple pins, $10 to play the crane, and
so not bad.
Yeah,
and then food and stuff while you're there.
Then $9 for food.
Okay. What about you, Lake? What'd you get?
So I got I tried not to buy figures, but I ended up getting 3 of them.
Oh God! How many stickers did you buy?
So I didn't buy any stickers.
Wow.
What I did go is I went to the artist alley because that's not something you can get from Amazon or these popular stores.
It's more like Etsy type.
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah. Kind of one time. That's it.
Like those pictures I have in the old room.
Painted stuff.
Yeah.
My gum
so
came in the mail, by the way. I'll show you that afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bought a wall scroll, of course, of ReZero. So I bought a ReZero wall poster, which was actually a size that I was aware of because the last one I bought was I had like half of it. So I was like, oh, it's one character rim. So I bought it and it had 2 other characters because it was just covered up. So it was too big. So but yeah, I got a wall poster. I got some little poster card looking things. But yeah, the 3 figures that I bought, they were Oscar Langley, of course, my waifu. But not too much else. I got a lot of the keychains. That's where most of my money went, actually, was keychains.
How much did you spend?
So, all right.
That's what I want to know.
I took out of the bank.
Can't beat me. I spent $100 on a cell. So.
Yeah,
which I texted Lake about. I feel like at MomoCon, us 3 cats out of the bag, we had bets going on how much Hayden was going to spend at Momo. We all lost because for whatever reason, Hayden just didn't find that that diamond in the rough, and he didn't buy anything.
What did I buy?
But then this week, I made a bet with Lake on how much you were going to spend.
Oh yes, let me look that up. How much
half my money went into that sale. Half my money went into that sale. So my spending money. So I didn't buy that.
So yeah,
much.
How much? Did
and
you...
it was like this and the sale.
How much did you spend, Lake?
Food.
So I took out $300 from my bank because I did save up specifically for this event.
Right.
So I took out $300, and I only have $3 left.
Damn. $3.
So I took out $300, and then I took out another $300.
What really took a lot of it was that the $20 or $30 deals that you could get on some of the artist posters.
Yeah.
That's what took most of the money.
What was the most expensive figure?
So the most expensive figure was $35. The other 2 were, of course, the So the other one was 31. Or no, it was 38, and then the other one was $20, and it was like a little tiny figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we don't think about it. You got a 3-day, a 3-day convention, and then every day you're spending $40. You don't think about it. And then when it's all said and done,
I only go on Saturday.
So that's kind of how. So how much did you spend total, Like? Oh, I thought you were looking.
$297.
It's 300 minus 3.
So to kind of wrap it up this week,
I'm good at maths.
That was going to be my question: was to someone going to Kamicon here in Birmingham, or even MomoCon that we've been to, or any of the other cons that you've been to, do you think it's worth buying a weekend pass versus buying a Saturday pass, or the 1-day pass that's the one that has all the good panels, that's the one that...
Do you want to go around the table?
Just the only way that would be worth it for the weekend, because I only paid $58. Everybody else paid way more than me, and I had more days.
Didn't you pre-order?
Yes. Okay. So pre-ordering, if you 55. Are going to go, it is the way to go, because it's $58 for 3 days, while they paid what? You $75?
I paid $55
for 1 day.
55,
and you got 1 day.
But $55 was for the full weekend.
I paid $55
you paid
for the whole weekend as well.
Yeah, you paid 3 more because you pre-ordered
online. So you got
bitch ass.
Ooh,
man, you Kamicon head ass.
I thought I was making a deal, man. I'll tell you what.
Man, that $3 that you could have had $6.
They get you in the transaction fees. That's what they get you. Yeah,
the window fee.
So yeah, my question is,
convenience fee.
Being of all the cons that you guys have gone to, is it worth doing? Let's put it this way: if it's out of state, like MomoCon, for me, it was totally worth doing the 3 days because
that's how I feel.
It's the weekend of hanging out with you guys and actually doing the.
It's on a bigger scale.
That's what made
it's on a bigger scale. It's a bigger city. There's going to be more to do. There's going to be more cosplayers to see. Better cosplayers to see. This year there wasn't that many.
So
great cosplays.
Someone coming out of town to come to Kamicon, do you think it's worth 3 days, or just the 1 day pass?
So I think so. I'm going to do it like this. It's going to depend on it depends on a couple of situations.
What appeals to you?
Do you have friends? So that's a big thing. So me personally, I don't like just asking off 3 days for work to do it anymore. I would say Saturday to me is enough because I can almost experience from the beginning of the day to the end of the day all that I would want to experience in a full week. in my opinion, because Thursday and Sunday don't really matter in the bigger scale ones.
I'm actually feeling the same way about that, because after this one, because of the lack of like panels that they had, I wasn't interested in. I spent more time in like the dealer's hall, just walking around, looking at the same stuff.
Now, for example, if you are a big person if you're a big person into dressing up, video games, playing cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, tournaments, perfect. Go all week, because
taking pictures, yeah.
Like that's for some people. Like me, I just like to go to experience it, see if there's any good sales, kind of see the community, enjoy a couple animes here or there, kind of just see what's going on this year. Because at the end of the day, most of my time is going to be in the dealer's hall. And then the second part of my day is going to be kind of like watching people, seeing if there's anything cool going along. Because, I mean, there's really, like, MomoCon, for example, there was only 3 panels that I wanted to see. One of them I slept through because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And then the other
which
one...
we all regret.
Because of pizza. And...
I know, we're all still super stressed about that.
That pizza was not worth it.
It's been almost a year.
Yeah, dude, it's
and I'm not over it.
I could kill that man. But and then also the next big thing is don't go, I wouldn't say go to a full convention all weekend if you are not having a pretty stable job. Now, for example, like me and Hayden work full time all the time. Lake, you're working almost full time technically.
I work
28, 30 hours, but not last year. Last year you went.
I'm
clocking
in about like 38 hours.
But last year you went with what, $200?
Yeah. So I went.
So like, but at the same time though, Lake went with all 4 of us or all 3 of us, and we shared a hotel room.
Right.
2 people had to sleep on the floor or in the bed, yada yada. And Hayden gets
so have money to spend if you go,
that's the thing is you don't want to just buy a hotel room and the ticket and then just go around and not have money for food, or you can't buy things like that. If you just want to kind of like, I think go into Atlanta, for example, for one of the big ones, paying for parking because parking is expensive.
$60 for parking.
That was for like a full week. I mean, that's just money, I can't see back. I was nice to everyone in the car, and I paid for parking because it was my one day. I paid $10, so we had a really nice parking spot.
Yeah, we actually ended up going back to that, and Lake paid for it because he was going to originally pay for gas for me as well, pay me for gas, and he was just like, "Nah, bro, here's $10," and we parked at the same spot, so worked out.
So, which I'm probably going to do that next year too.
Totally worth it. It's right behind the venue.
Yeah, instead of having to drive it around Birmingham trying to spend $10.
So have money to spend. No, a lot of these conventions you can look, unless you're pre-ordering, you can look online to see what panels and what vendors are going to be there. If you pre-order, really, you're taking a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know.
Yeah, the only advantage to pre-ordering is to be able to walk up to the registration table, sign your name.
And then you're done.
Which would be good for like a big convention.
Yeah. That would be worth it for like AX, which is like the biggest anime convention in the country. Like that's the one convention where like you don't want to walk in to buy your tickets, because like I knew I'd be able to walk in and buy my tickets at Kamicon, of course, because we walked into AWA on a Saturday, one of the big days, and got our tickets that day. Well, it didn't take like 30 minutes, but still, I was like, yeah. I mean, when you do pre-order in advance, I mean, the sooner you order, it is cheaper, but it's like $5 or $6 cheaper sometimes.
So now the question to you, Hayden, do you think it's worth the weekend pass or just a day pass?
For Comic-Con, it kind of depends on what you're interested in. If you're interested in doing a lot of things, if there's a lot of things at the con that appeals to you, if you're going to play the games, you're going to go to the panels, you're going to go to the photo shoots, you're going to go get your signatures, you're going to get the dealer's hall, then yes. If one of these, maybe one or just 2 of these things really appeals to you, then probably not. Especially, I feel like if you're cosplaying and you also want to play video games and you also want to go to panels, absolutely. Everybody goes to dealer's hall. Everybody goes there. So that's a given. But if either of those 3 things, you're not doing either of those 3 things, then it's not worth it.
And the best thing you can do is always go to the website of the con that you're going to go to and look at their schedule, because they've always got it ahead of time, so you can see which panels are going to be showing on what day.
Oh, RTX.
So
RTX
you can line that up with
great, yeah.
what day you actually want to go and what day you want to pay for.
They actually had an app you could download on your phone, RTX app, and you could go through and set, okay, I want to go to this panel and this one and this one.
Like Momo did?
Then it would send you notifications.
I love that.
Hey, this is going on right now.
I gotta show you guys something real quick.
So yeah.
But that would be our spill. If you ever want to experience a convention, plan. That's if you want to have the most fun and enjoy the most, just plan. If you don't like to plan, just go and have fun, find something to do.
But I would say to commit to it. Once again, I'm gonna harp back to RTX. I had planned to go to RTX with Tim and Phil and his girlfriend Ashlyn, and so I committed and I bought my ticket, and we were gonna split a room and fly out there and do all that. Well, last minute. Tim, Phil, and Ashlyn dropped off, or stuff happens. It happens. And instead of me being like, well, okay, I've already bought my ticket, I guess I just won't go to RTX. I'm so glad that I stuck to it and committed to it and bought a plane ticket, and I just stayed in a room by myself. I mean, granted, it was $1,500 for the plane ticket in the room alone, not even including my ticket to get into RTX.
I didn't have enough money. That's
but it
why
was
I didn't go.
so... I mean, yeah, don't like go in debt doing this, but it was so worth it going and experiencing that for myself, and it put me in the position that I'm in today that makes me want to go out and do more.
Exactly.
But I would say yes, if you plan on doing something like this, especially if it's your first time, like Lenny going with Tim,
go somewhere local.
Go somewhere local if you can, but even, commit to something if you really want to go and you really think you're going to have a good time. If plans fall through and people you're going to go with were like, I'm not really going to go, put yourself out there, try it. Yeah. I flew to Austin, Texas and jumped in an Uber for the first time in my life, and I had probably the best time of my life there. It was great.
Yeah. Or you can go to your, you can go to Kamicon and Alexander Shannara is there, and you can meet him and watch his panel.
Speaking of
I'm
which,
dead serious,
talk about what law?
Yeah, no, it's how. Watch me, Alabama. Whatever he wants to
call me.
He wants to appeal to. I mean, it's kind of smart. He'll probably appear to just about any convention that is Alabama. He wants to appeal to every single audience that he can.
Smart move.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude's very smart move. I want to show you for a second. This is the MomoCon poster this year.
Hell yeah, that's sick.
Let's see.
Ooh,
that's sick.
I like that one.
It's an Akira rip. So.
Heck yeah. So look for us at MomoCon this year. Look for us at Kamicon.
AWA.
Maybe next year for
need to
the
get those
Mochi podcast
stickers done.
panel.
Dude, I hope that happens.
We need to hand out those stickers, man.
Look for stickers and slaps and panels.
All of us contribute to it. That's cheap.
We need to roll up with some actual shirt prints, man. Just represent.
Yeah.
We'll come out kind of funny too, like that workout video.
Yeah, dude, that'd be great. If you've got any questions for us for future episodes, if you've got any questions about the cons that we've been to or stuff that we like or anything that we can talk about here on the Mochi Podcast, submit those over at mochipodcast.com. You'll see we've got a little tab there for questions.
Where can you find us, Zach?
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Mochi Podcast. We do audio and video. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. All of our information, again, is on mochipodcast.com. That camera just died. I've been your host, Zach, with my host Tim, his host Hayden, and Lake's on with us again this week. And we love Tim.
We love Tim.